Prepare to bust out some tissues for this week's episode of One Piece, my friends, because the tragic story of Sanji Vinsmoke is finally revealed to the viewers. We learn how he escaped from his malicious warmongering family. We got to see all of the torture that he endured. We also got to see why he was inspired to be a chef in the first place. This is a crucial episode of One Piece. It's kind of one of those episodes that you have to watch, and I have to admit that I got a lot of enjoyment out of this episode, a lot more than when I was actually reading it in the manga version. And a lot of that is most certainly due, of course, to the music as well as the voice acting from the young version of Sanji, which, yes, basically is the same voice actor as Chopper, but still, he did a really great job at the end of this week's episode. You could truly feel all of the desperation and sadness as he realized that there was nothing left for him with the Vinsmoke family. His father had disowned him, he wanted nothing to do with him, his brothers beat him nearly half to death all of the damn time, his sister could help but could never truly be there for him. There was nothing for him at Germa 66, and that's why he decided to make the desperate call of running away and even confronting his father about it. The final scene where Reiju actually asks him to leave and go on to the orbit ship, that was just heartbreaking. Watching that moment was terrible because you knew there was nothing more that Sanji truly could do in that moment, and the only way that he was going to be able to find any sort of freedom or happiness was to abandon his family altogether. And Sanji is a very kind-hearted person, and despite the fact that his father disowns him, and his brothers beat him, and his sister ignores most of the damage that happens to him and just puts band-aids on the situation, he still seems to care about them in some sense. This combined with the fact that Reiju legitimately does want to help Sanji, but she doesn't want to be seen doing it, and you can see the absolute anger and frustration that she's having with watching her brother leave. You almost get a sense that she wishes that she could do the same thing, but she simply just doesn't have the strength to run away from her father. That, and just combined with all the other heartbreaking scenes from this episode, we finally get a flashback of Sanji and his mother, which was such an amazing moment. And you can definitely see where Sanji got a lot of his influence from and his love of eating food and eating all of it no matter what it is or how disgusting it is in the first place. Because during this flashback, Sanji actually decides to make this dish out of fish and bananas and all types of other weird shit. It doesn't mix at all. It's like lamb and tuna fish. And he brings it personally to his mother, who's in the hospital. And despite the fact that this shit is just completely nasty, she eats it with a smile on her face and just embraces her son in every way possible. And then the next scene, you just see that she's dead. The only thing you see is actually her tombstone and a young Sanji who now has no one else to turn to and no one else to coach him in his cooking ways. And it's that moment where I really do believe that Sanji finally started to change and not be like a true part of Germa 66. He still had the potential to be like a super-powered character, but he didn't want to do it if this is the way that it was meant to be. It's handled really damn well, and that's something that I can definitely applaud this episode for, really in the best way possible. And like I said, it was expanded a little bit more upon what we actually saw in the manga version. It was done with gusto. It was done with some surprisingly damn good animation, and just like I said, the emotional moments really hit hard. Like I said, that moment where Sanji runs away from his father, finally removes the helmet, and just starts hauling ass just to escape for his life. Just, you're cheering him on the entire time, and it's sad, too, because you know this is just the beginning of Sanji's troubles. Yes, he is able to escape from the family, but then he gets involved with that cooking ship, which gets involved with Zeph and his pirate crew. They end up getting stuck on that island where Zeph suffers losing his leg. But it's all these huge, crucial character-building moments for Sanji, and we're finally getting to see how it all happened for his character. And to see it happen so late in the game is a little strange, but it also makes sense because Sanji never talks about like his true past at all. He never really got into what happened like before the incident with Zeph. And to see this all happening now, you realize that he has been through a lot of shit. It's depressing, but it's also entertaining as hell. And that's why this was a great episode of One Piece. So, what's the rundown on this week's episode? Really, I don't have much more to say. This was just a really great backstory for Sanji, and it was handled with a lot of great care and some great voice acting from the team. Just the little scenes like him meeting his mom were handled really well. It's the type of scene that when I read it in the manga version, I just sort of glossed over it, and I didn't get a lot of emotion out of it. Here in this episode, man, I found myself just clenching my heart the whole time and lamenting over the fact that Sanji's been going through all of this bullshit, and it's made even more worse by the fact that he's, like, stuck in prison, and his brothers find out that they're down there, and they just torture him consistently. And it's a shame, because he still had a lot of potential to maybe even live something of a normal life and leave, too, because he was given some privileges when he actually was in the prison, like he was allowed to cook, and he actually had, like, a pretty decently sized room, but he was still seen as kind of like just the trash. He was tossed in the dark by his father. And the scene where all of Judge's children are doing really exceptional during their training, and he embraces all of them and hugs them and does not even acknowledge Sanji is just so disturbing to me. It's the type of episode that unfortunately a lot of people who have a lot of brothers or sisters are going to be able to relate to. There are some people who are ignored and practically disowned by their parents and families, and it manages to hit really hard and heavy in this episode right here. But like I said, it's because I think it was all done really well with a lot of the voice acting and all of the amazing emotion. So there it is. It was just a great backstory for Sanji that's definitely worth checking out for all One Piece fans. Yes, it's disappointing we didn't get to see more of Luffy versus Cracker, but just wait, that stuff is coming, and hopefully they are going to do that with a lot of really great production value. I know that they're definitely going to be making a certain episode look really good. There's going to be a 1-hour One Piece special, which is coming up in about a month. Dragon Ball Super is doing the same thing, and they've already shown what is actually going to be in this episode, and if the animation is any indication, hell yeah! Let's get ready for that, guys. So, 4 out of 5 from me. I really loved this episode. It certainly had some animation flaws, and it was a little long-winded at times. Still, it was entertaining, and it's definitely crucial watching if you are planning on continuing to watch the series and learn a little bit more about the backstory of the characters. So that's my thoughts on this episode. If any of you did watch it, make sure to tell me what you thought about it in the comments section below, and what you hope to see from the rest of the epic Whole Cake Island arc. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for all things One Piece related. Make sure to like this video, share it with all your friends. I'll see you guys next time, and as always, stay dandy, baby.